especially in AEW, I talk to a lot of people and I'm like, do you talk to Jake? You have access to one of the greatest minds, heel or babyface. Go talk to him. He'll teach you how to get over. He'll teach you the simple nuances that it helps. That maybe if the company doesn't do it, he can see something because he could see either holes in your work or hey, maybe try this. Hey, maybe try that. And he brings that complete package. Yes, second generation wrestler, but he's been a top guy in every territory he went.
Yep.
He's drawn money everywhere he's gone. So that's what this business truly is about: asses in seats. And then, I mean, honestly, again, for where he was to where he is, but where he was, if you think about in his heyday, probably had about 50% of them, right? And he became a global iconic figure that
Household name.
100%. And there's those 80s guys, 80s into 90s guys still have that today. And it's unheard of in the wrestling industry because somebody could get let go by the WWE that could have worked there a long, long time. They still don't carry the weight of a name of a Jake the Snake Roberts. They could be in WWE 15, 20 years. Truly that generation were superstars.
It's funny. My mom is not a wrestling fan at all. Doesn't know anything. So if I said like, "Hey, mom, I'm doing a podcast with Steve Austin," she'd be thinking of like the $6 Million Man. If
How's
I
Lee
said
Majors doing?
if I said Sting, she'd be thinking of Sting from The Police. When I told my mom, "Hey, I just got a podcast with Jake the Snake Roberts," she was like, "Oh my God, really?" She knew exactly who I was talking about. So I mean, it really speaks to Jake and his name equity and the fact that he went from being a wrestling superstar to a pop culture icon. And that's I call him that all the time on the show, and he's like, "Ah, come on," but it's true. He really is. And to your point, I think a lot of people have preconceived notions about Jake because of what they see on the internet or what they read from the dirt sheets or this and that. I can say from personal experience, one of the kindest people, most generous people I have ever had the pleasure of getting to know. So it's really cool to hear your perspective. Only kind of getting to be around Jake a little bit during his time of struggle, and kind of it seems like getting to know him a little bit better now here in his later years, right?
Absolutely. As well as, like I said, you're literally Jake the Snake, and I've seen him be humble. And like to me, I'd rather be Jake the Snake than I would have been Hulk Hogan. And I could have had that same longevity. Like again, yes, Hulk made probably bigger paydays, but on par, still same. I feel household name. Hogan probably a little bit bigger, but I mean, here's a guy. No matter, and like I said, how many times he messed up, but everyone was always still willing to work with him because of how good he was. Um, I wish he physically could be able to do what he did because, like I said, I think for the longest time he made himself that name at 50%. Could you imagine if we had the 100%?
Oh my gosh.
Like,
Incredible.
and again, like that Forrest Gump type of guy. If it wasn't for Jake, we wouldn't have had 316. Like all these moments, like in an alternate universe, that he's still there. Even the fact that he's in AEW, whether
Yep.
he's on TV or just in the back. Like if you're, I wish, I pray that if I ever work there, I'm just gonna, hey Jake, how you doing today? Blah 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 blah. I pick his brain, even if it's to sit at the learning tree for 5 to 10 minutes, and then I leave. Thank you, Jake. Can I get you something? Blah 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 blah. When you have those people there, because honestly, like we all like talking about ourselves, but then if you're talking about why did you do this? How come this happened? Do you know how many Mark stories that I will ask people because I want to find out the real story, or like you'd be surprised of, oh man, I thought this guy was great, and then somebody else tells you about how they were in the ring, and I know how great that person is, and I'm like, really? And oh man, he hit me so hard my teeth went numb. Oh, I didn't even know that was a thing. But it's just it's amazing what, like, honestly, like this business, there's not a lot of listen, there's not a lot of veterans left that went through all the territories. Paul Heyman is one of them. Jake is one of them. Arn Anderson is one of them. But like after my generation, Raven was probably one of the last to go through the territory system. I didn't go through the territory system. I had ECW. I made a stop in Memphis, but when I was already a made Tommy Dreamer, and I do Puerto Rico when I was a made Tommy Dreamer. So like that era is going to end. And think about Jake, every territory he was a top guy. And literally Portland, Texas, Southwest, Amarillo, like you just pinpoint anywhere there's a famous thing of everybody who had territories. Jake was probably there. The only territory I don't know if Jake worked was AWA.
He wasn't, because I've asked him about this before, and he was like, "Nope, missed AWA." And it's like, man, imagine if he had that one in his resume too. He'd literally have been in every single major territory.
Florida, Georgia, Mid-Atlantic, WCW, NWA, WWE,
Calgary,
World Class, Calgary, top guy. I believe he had the first ever ladder match.
Yep.
So
with JYD.
again, Forrest Gump, Jake the Snake.